Hey, what's up, bookworms? We are back with another Talk About Nothing. This time, my guest, you may have heard of him. He used to do this whole BookTube thing a long time ago, but his
Long
name is
time ago.
Alex Nieves, and he is, like me, a suffering NFL fan, but we're not going to talk about that right now. We're going to talk about what's going on in our lives. Alex, what is going
Yes,
on in your
sir.
life?
All kinds of stuff, man. Yeah, my former life, being a YouTuber and all that. It's always been a hobby for me, but honestly, when I started a few years ago, it was a time at work where I had nothing to do. So I
Mm,
had tons of time to read and do videos and all that, and it's just changed. Started a new job like 6 months ago. Got
ah,
super busy,
yeah,
and my kids are almost 5 and 3, and it's just at the end of the day, I don't feel like reading. I'm far too tired and busy that
man, I get
I
that.
do stuff like this, but reading, I've barely read anything this year. It's been a problem.
Yeah, so this
But
should be an awesome conversation. We can't just go
well,
into
it,
what are you
it
reading?
doesn't say we're talking specifically about books.
Here's my thing is like with me it worked out good timing because my kids were kind of at that age, where
Mm,
they can't leave them home alone yet, but they're also like the age where like they'll leave you alone, so you have
yeah,
like time. So it kind of worked out for me at that way. I never could have done this with a newborn, like some of you guys do. I don't know how, like you and Andrew, I don't know how you guys did it, with a newborn. I can't even imagine,
it
especially when it's
helped
number
that we were.
two. When it's
Yeah,
number two, that's like, well, okay, this just went from like, hey, I got like that first kid, it's almost like, hey, I have like a dog, I just got to keep it
yeah.
alive, and then the second one, and then one of them is mobile, and it's like, forget about it. So yeah, I get that, and then starting a new job, that's got to be rough. But I mean, yes, Derry, I did shave, and it's completely foreign to me. My wife won't even talk to me. She won't even talk to me.
He
It's
had
it's
to
it's
make me feel
weird.
better because I've been growing this for about 33 years, and it's coming in
It
nicely.
it felt really weird today because it was a little chilly this morning, and I walked outside. I was like, "Whoa, what the heck?" It's kind of cold, but yeah, it's probably the first time in about 2 years that I did this. But it won't be lasting long. Like I said, I need my wife to talk to me. My youngest kid didn't even know who I was. He started crying. I was like, "Oh my god, I didn't think it was gonna be this big of a deal." But hey, these things do happen. So you said you haven't read anything. Are you like currently like have anything that you're like working on at all?
I mean, the most of the reading for me this year has been rereads. So
Mm.
like rereading Lord of the Rings, rereading Red Rising, um, trying to get back to finishing The Dark Tower because I literally just have one book left, and for
Oh.
some reason just haven't finished it yet.
Oh, I know the
Um,
reason. It's because you read
why?
book 6. That's
Oh
why
yeah,
that's
exactly. And then I just died inside. No, I am gonna finish it though. So because I need to know what happens in the end and if I hate it or love it, which camp I'm
Mm.
gonna fall in. But no, I don't know. A lot of this year has just been gaming at night, honestly, and just a lot less reading. And I'm still doing collabs, so that's fun. But I think the last book that I read and did a video for was Tress, like
Trust,
two
yeah.
months ago. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. So, what are you playing? What games are you into right now?
I started playing Hearthstone again, and I'm also just trying to go through my Steam library and playing all the RPGs that I never played,
Right.
and not just default back to playing, Divinity Original Sin 2 again for the 50th time.
I've resisted. A lot of people told me to try that
It's
game,
so
and
good. It's
I was like, "I've heard
incredible.
it's pretty damn addicting. I don't have time
It
for that
is.
right now,"
It
because
is.
Hogwarts Legacy and the new Zelda game are coming out, like, in a couple of weeks for me, and I'm like, "I'm gonna be good for gaming for a while." So that's why
I
me and my
played
kid.
I played Hogwarts Legacy when it came out on PC, and it was awesome. It's
Yeah.
so much fun.
Yeah,
Like
it's one of
if
those
you know
things like I was
anything
like,
about Harry Potter, you care about it at all, like
yeah.
it's so cool.
Yeah, for me, it was like, look, I don't even care about the story. I was like, I just want to play
Yeah.
in that world. I just want to play in that
That's
sandbox.
that's
You
honestly
just
the
give
best
me
part of
flying
it.
around a broom for an hour. I'm going to have a
Yep.
good time, So
Flying
that was,
around Hogwarts and going to Hogsmeade,
yeah.
it's like being a little kid again.
You
It's
just
awesome.
down in butterbeer, like all over the place. It's just
Yeah, man.
slamming them. Yeah,
Picking out a
that's
wand, getting
that's the way.
sorted.
That's the way. You drinking some butterbeer right now? It looks kind of
This is
pretty
a mango habanero margarita, actually.
nice. Nice. I've got iced tea. Yeah, it is a work night. So
Exactly what the Reaper would be drinking.
you did Tress. What do you think of Tress? Tress of the Emerald Sea.
I actually liked it a lot. I was very pleasantly surprised because early reviews and stuff that I was hearing about, I thought for sure I was going to hate it
Mm,
because I didn't even know what it was at first. And people were talking about how like kiddie and kind of younger audience focused it was,
right.
and that it was going to be a seafaring tale. And I was just like, oh my God, why did I spend all this money up front for these books? And then
Yeah.
I just thought it was fun. I thought it was Sanderson kind of doing like his take on Pratchett, and it was just kind of whimsy and lighthearted, and ended up being a lot of fun, having some cool characters in it. So yeah, I liked it a lot. I know you just read it too. So what did you think?
Yeah, I liked it. I kind of just went into it. I hadn't read Sanderson since Rhythm of War. Because I didn't read. I did. We'll probably talk about Mistborn Era 2 here in a little bit.
Did
But
you finish
with
it
me,
yet?
it was like I didn't even read the last book. I
I
got it,
haven't
but I
yet
didn't
either.
read it
Yeah.
because basically Era 2 has been kind of a miss for me.
Yeah.
So when I did start Tress, I was like, this is fun. I mean, it's just kind of those things where I felt like, hey, not everything's got to be blood and guts all the time.
Yeah.
Plus I was rereading Red Rising, which is gets a little brutal.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, this is a nice change of pace. And everybody was telling me, was like, oh, it's like Princess Bride. I was like, I never really got the Princess Bride thing that everything was because they're talking about. And then they tell
Yeah.
me, oh, it's because when they told Buttercup that Wesley was dead, she went looking for him instead of just doing nothing. And I'm like, so it's the opposite of Princess Bride.
Right.
That's not like the Princess Bride at
No.
all. Anyhow, but I was actually quite happy with it.
Yeah.
A lot of times Sanderson's humor for me isn't really a strong point, but the part with like the Dougs and stuff, I found that hilarious. I had a good time with it. So yeah, it's worth a try. It's nothing I say is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like
I missed the Cosmere a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like we had a very similar experience because, as I'm sure we'll talk about when we talk about Era 2, I hate Sanderson's humor 99% of the time, especially when especially when it's Wayne just getting on my nerves for hundreds of
Wayne in the
pages.
first book, but yeah.
Yeah. I hated him by Bands of Morning. Anyway, when I started reading Tress, though, I was like 100 pages into it and just started thinking, this is actually pretty fun. Like, I'm enjoying this, and I was very surprised at how kind of cute and fun it was, and then also like the magic was pretty cool, and Tress actually became a pretty interesting character, and the little twists and turns that it takes, it was awesome.
Yeah, if you write a seafaring book and I'm actually like, I like it, you've done a good job. That's like my kryptonite,
So you must
really,
love
really
live ship.
but yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Now, as far as Era 2, what didn't work about Era 2 for you? Is it just Wayne, or?
It's not just Wayne. I'm not normally like a Western kind of guy or Industrial Revolution era. When I first read that, like, what Era 2 setting was going to be, I thought the premise could be really cool. And then my most exciting, what's up, Rockio? My most exciting moments in that series so far, and I haven't read 11th Metal. Is that the most recent one?
Lost Metal.
The Lost Metal. 11th Metal is a sci-fi book, which I also have. The setting didn't really work for me. I love the premise of like bullets and allomancy. I thought it was going to be cool.
Yeah. On paper, it should work. Yeah,
exactly. But then maybe it was because I read it right after Era 1, kind of like when I did Faithful of the Fallen. I didn't like Of Blood and Bone as much.
Right.
I probably should have gapped it, like spaced it out a little bit, but I was expecting more Era 1. So I really wanted that. And I didn't like the story, didn't really hit for me. I didn't like Wax or Wayne, to be honest, because Wax I felt like was a very boring wax statue of a character.
Right.
And Wayne was trying so hard to be funny, and it never hit for me. And so I was just annoyed by all the characters. And by the time Bands of Morning happened, my favorite moments were the callbacks to Era 1. So I was like, if your best moments are references to this stuff, I just was not vibing with it whatsoever.
Yeah, for me, it was the Disney Star Wars movies. It was just like,
Yeah,
the only time I
exactly.
got excited is when classic characters were referenced or brought up or actually showed up.
Yeah.
And you nailed it with everybody talks about Wayne, but me, Wax is dry toast.
He's so boring.
That's like the most boring protagonist that Sanderson. Like, I would take Raoden from freaking from freaking Elantris before I would take it, and that's bad.
I also hated Elantris,
so that, I don't know, I never really clicked. I was like, if I'm not liking your characters, if I'm more excited about old characters showing up or shapeshifters showing up, that's just like that's not for me. And I realized that I was being a wet blanket. If everybody was really enjoying it, I can just admit it wasn't for me.
Yeah,
and that's why I just said I was just going to. I didn't call it butt like you did, but I just stepped away. I just stepped away.
I remember I was so excited reviewing Era 1, and then Era 2. I was very lukewarm to negative on most of it. And then I just did like an Era 2 wrap-up review and was just like, I don't really like these books.
I reviewed all 3 that I had read, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to be finishing this, you guys. So
I think it's also just like, oh, go ahead.
There's a fun question. Even if you end up quitting BookTube, can you please promise us you'll review Empire the Vampire 2 when it comes out?
The only issue that I have with that comment is I didn't actually finish Empire
Huh,
the Vampire because I hated it so much that I stopped 300 pages into it.
huh.
And Leanna got mad at me because I was reading it with her. And she was like, "You didn't even finish the book." I was like, "Yeah, I literally couldn't." I was
Oh,
so
man.
done with it.
I like the book, but my thing with Christoph is like it's one of those authors that I understand if he's an author
Yeah.
that doesn't click for you. I totally get it. I mean, he is going to be divisive one way or the other. I enjoy his stuff, but I like I said, I totally get why people might
I mean,
not.
most people seem to love it. I was just, I mean, there you go. Derry loved it.
I went
But
into
like,
it thinking, I don't know about this, and I did. I judged it off the cover. I'm not gonna
yeah,
lie, I did. But the American cover, everywhere else's cover was awesome. The American cover was like, oh boy, another shirtless,
shirtless
sexy
vampire.
vampire. All
Yep.
right, yeah, let's go, guys. But I don't know. I enjoyed it for what it was, but I can definitely understand why it would click for some people,
Yeah.
for sure.
You ended up reading some more of his stuff though, right?
Yeah, I read all of the Nevernight Chronicle as
How
well,
was that?
which I'll just tell you this: if you didn't like Empire of the Vampire, oh my
Oh,
god,
I know.
you
I
would flip the
tried
table
Nevernight
over
years ago.
Nevernight.
Yeah. I don't think Kristoff is the writer for me. It's just
Yeah.
not something that I'll
Yeah,
read.
it happens sometimes. I mean,
Yeah.
there's several writers that are pretty popular that I've either never read or I've just said, because I've just sometimes I just like I can just tell something's probably not good for me.
Yeah.
Like you're into Terry Pratchett. I'm just like, I'm still not sure if Discworld's going to be for me. I'm not
I
saying
love
never,
it.
and I'm not like avoiding it or something. I'm just right now, I'm
Yeah.
like, him and GGK are two authors I'm not sure are going to click for me. Just
Yeah, GGK,
just a
I don't
hunch.
know. I've heard he also seems very divisive. People like loathe his work or absolutely adore it. And I
Well, I noticed
have
the people that
3.
love it are the people who are like, "Oh, give me Robin Hobb writing about grass for 4,000 words." And I'm like, "That's not my
That
thing."
sounds
So I'm thinking,
terrible, to be
if
honest.
GTK does more of that, I don't know if that's gonna be the author for me. But, I talked to Nicholas Eames, and he just gushed about it. Jake Bishop gushes
Yeah.
about him. So, I
Jake
mean, I
loves
wanna
him.
trust these people.
Yeah.
Jake's been right more than not when it comes to what he thinks I like. But, yeah, see, I can't. I swear to God, she's got an alarm. She's got an alarm. If I say anything about Robin Hobb, she's like, "Ah!" Yeah.
Discworld's fantastic though, and so is Robin Hobb. So
Well, no, Hobb is great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not Chris. I'm just saying
best
it's the
writer
people who
alive.
tell me that they love the GGK are the ones that say they like the parts of Hobb that I struggle with. Where
Yeah.
it's like it's been 1,000 pages and nothing has happened. Yes, it's beautiful, but I need something to happen. Here we got Mr. Rocchio saying GGK is the best fantasy writer alive. That's a hell of a compliment. And I
Yeah.
thought that was fantasy. I thought that was Gene Wolfe to be his
Yeah.
sci-fi guy.
Yeah,
You got people
they're
reading Gene Wolfe.
similar.
You ever gonna read those? The Book of the New Sun?
Yes, I am. I
You
have
are?
all of them. Yeah. I'm
I don't know,
super
man.
curious
After
about them.
Malazan, I'm scared.
I want to read Malazan too, but my issue with that is I really want to collect them, and they're all like different sizes and shapes and hardcover and paperback, and it's bothering me. So I have them all on Kindle. I do want to read them all, and I do want to read Book of the New Sun. Instead of just going back and reading Dune repeatedly, I want to try some other things.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, with me, like I said, it's never say never. It's just all the comparisons I get to are all the exact same buzz phrases I got about
Yeah.
Malazan. And I didn't hate Malazan. I just still haven't finished it. I got to
Really?
finish Malazan. I'm 7 books in. I'm not stopping, but it's just like right now I got a plan this summer to go back to it. But
Yeah.
it's
Weren't you
I'm
doing a read along?
do what?
Weren't you doing a read along
Yeah.
for it?
Well,
So
here's the thing, it's
you
like,
jump
when it
ship.
started, I had probably at least 1,000 people. At least
Yeah.
1,000 people. By book 2, that was cut in half. By book 3, there was maybe 50 of us left. By the point where I walked away, there were on the Discord, there were 2 other people, and I asked them,
Yeah.
"Are you guys fine if I stop?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's fine."
I just remember seeing constant like Malazan, like Erickson versus Sanderson debates happening even in my Discord. Because I would have like Nick defending Sanderson and saying how dog shit Malazan was. I remember Brent hating it. It was a good time. I had nothing to do with Malazan because I still haven't read it. I've only read Gardens of the Moon, which I thought was good. I
Mm.
do want to continue, but I read that over a year ago. Like I'm gonna have to start over.
I think Reaper's
Um,
Guild broke me because it was just 1,400 pages on mass market
it's long,
paperback, and,
man.
like, what did I just read? That kinda thing, but, here's a good question. Any author's voice become absolutely tired of you after a while? I need a break from King because his prose and voice is so annoyingly
That's
similar with
fair.
every book. I can get that. I mean, that's why I always tell people to kinda change it up. I don't really try to binge one author for long because I feel like you're going to need a break. But no, King's the exception for me, but I do understand.
It's a fair point. I think for me, the one that pops in my head right away was unfortunately John Gwynne, to the point that I made a few minutes ago, where I loved Faithful to the Fallen.
Mhm.
It was fantastic. And then I immediately jumped into Blood and Bone. And I don't know exactly what I was expecting, but it just felt like a worse version of Faithful and the Fallen. And like his tropes that I was used to, I felt like he was just doing worse. And I was kind of just tired of what he was doing. King hasn't worn on me at all. Except for Song of the Susanna. But
I'm with you on that one.
But no, Dark Tower has been awesome. I've loved damn near everything that King's written that I've read so far. So definitely not for me.
Here, Alex, imagine waiting like 12 years
and then that being the book that came out.
And you get to Song of Susanna. How would you have felt having to wait? Oh my God. It's like the people who had to wait for Crossroads of Twilight. It's like that.
God. Talk about someone getting tiresome. Robert Jordan spending 3 books not doing a damn thing. That was pretty annoying.
Hey, Scott, you missed it. We were already talking about Robin Hobb. Sorry, you missed it.
And it's done.
You missed it. Yeah, we're done. I'm with you too. What we're saying here about Blood and Bone is like I love John Gwynne. I probably should not have read of Blood and Bone so soon after Faithful and the Fallen.
Yeah,
because the whole time, all I wanted was Corbin in the game. The whole time. So I was like, that's why I was so excited for Bloodsworn, because I was like, he needed to go to another world outside the Vanished Lands, I think. And that's why I think I like that better. And I put up Blood and Bone as my 3rd favorite series he's done.
Yeah.
But
also, think of Hunger of the Gods?
So good.
It's just good. Between Shadow of the Gods and Hunger, which one did you like more?
I think I like the second one better, and I know that's like unpopular. Like, it seems like everybody didn't really like the second one. They were talking about how it had like too much traveling and stuff, and I'm like, again, you guys are big Hobb fans, and you're talking about you don't like traveling. I get that.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I think it's just because it was just so much more brutal, and then that ending was just like a holy like nut punch.
Yeah,
and that might be actually kind of playing into it. He had like some horror elements in there and stuff. They had like a little bit of body horror, and I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff really worked. I was in the camp complaining a little bit about I felt like nothing was progressing in the second book. I felt like the same. I felt like another book. Hunger of the Gods. I felt like they kept just going, and there was no like point to a lot of the travel. I was like, where is this going? When I loved Shadow of the Gods and everything that was building towards it, I felt like Hunger was just a few steps down, but still excited to finish the series.
We've got a famous author on this chat right now, just so you know.
Is that him?
Yeah, it's him. It's him. You going to read Philip's book?
Yeah, of course.
Read it here very soon. Very, very soon. Very, very soon. I've heard amazing things about it. But now, I'm just saying that because he's here. I'm just saying that because he's here.
Exactly.
I'm excited about the Dunk and Egg show.
Hell yeah.
It was like, look, I loved House of the Dragon. I thought it was excellent.
Fantastic show.
But me and Scott, we were all the time like, we both felt like Dunk and Egg was a matter of when, not if. That was going to happen. That one was going to happen.
It's so good for an adaptation. It's going to be so different from everything else. It's about at least for me, it's like the happiest book that you could read.
In the World of Ice and Fire, that would probably be it. Yeah. A little bit of innocence with a certain young character in that. I feel like now I won't even spoil The Hobbit for people. And
Come on.
This book's like
75 years old. I think you can spoil The Hobbit. The Battle of the Five Armies doesn't really happen. It takes a paragraph at the most.
That's the truth, right? That's what people I think don't understand when they read Tolkien. Is modern readers, they go back and they read Tolkien, they're expecting it
most
to be
of the battles aren't there.
Like, dude, he will describe a stick.
Yeah,
for 3 pages, but he will do a paragraph for a battle.
Yeah, I mean the best part of The Hobbit for me was Gollum and
the rules in the dark,
in the cave. Yeah, so good,
definitely.
And then he brings it back with Smaug, which was also fantastic.
My whole life I said Smog, and then that movie came out, and I was like,
Smaug.
Sorry, I've been saying Smog since I was like 7. I can't change it now.
It had been so long since I read The Hobbit that I forgot that all of that happens in that tiny little book. I was like, oh, they're doing this now. Oh, they're here. Oh, yeah, they're here. How the hell was this 9 hours of movies? But
what a mistake that was.
Yeah.
But you know what? You know how the Disney Star Wars movies have kind of like validated the prequels now? I feel like Rings of Power is going to validate the Hobbit series.
Oh, do we want to talk about that?
We're going to be like, hey, it can always be worse, guys.
How much did you love Rings of Power?
Man, I tried.
On a scale of good to great, How
Because
excellent was it?
well, I mean, my kid was excited, and anytime he's excited about fantasy, I want to encourage that. And I don't want
Yeah.
him ever to feel like he's got to judge anything the same way that I do. I didn't even influence him about the Disney Star Wars movies. He made those decisions on his own. So with this, he was like okay with it, but several times he was like, "This doesn't feel like the same Galadriel from the movies." I'm like, "Yeah, it does. It does it, buddy." I think they just wrote her so unlikable. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I never got unlikable out of Galadriel. Powerful, intimidating
Mhm.
maybe, but never got unlikable. And I
No, they
think that
made
makes the
her.
point where she was actually in Numenor and she's just like embarrassing these recruits. I'm like, that is not something that Galadriel would have done. It was like, that just, I couldn't anymore. I was like, this is just a Marvel movie now. I can't do it.
She they made her incredibly unlikable, and it's hard to carry a show when the writers make you that unlikable. Which I
Mm.
felt bad, honestly, because she's probably a good actress,
Yeah.
but I felt like the script did her absolutely no favors. They didn't give her anything to do half the time.
No, they made her a Karen. I mean, literally
Yeah,
every city she goes to,
she
she doesn't get the
was.
answer she likes. She's like, I'm going to go to your superior and tell them. I mean, he's like, oh
Mhm.
my God, what is this? What is this? But
It was bad.
yeah, I had no idea that if you just made angry eyebrows, you could walk right into a volcanic blast. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Love it.
It's good times.
No one is harmed.
Mhm.
God, that show.
Lena made a really good Rings of Power video.
Mhm.
Did she rant?
Oh, yeah. It's some of her, like, most popular, videos on her channel now because she was just going off on that show, and I think the entire internet was just feeding on hatred for
Yeah,
Rings
and
of
that's the
Power.
thing is I reviewed the first 2 episodes, and I did, basically the positives and the negatives. I
Yeah.
try to find the positives as much as I can, and basically it
It's
was like a
pretty sometimes.
well, most people, that was the first time they discovered my channel, and they wanted me to flip tables and throw things, and yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, "That's not my style,"
Yeah.
I would talk about what I liked and what I didn't like, and so it was a really it got a lot of views, but people were more upset that I wasn't just, like, raging about it.
Yeah.
I was like, "That's just not my style," but I'm also that type of if I'm really not liking something, I'm just not
You
even gonna
just
talk about
just
it,
not gonna talk about it and not gonna watch it. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing was is we got to, like I said, episode 5 or 6 or whatever,
Mhm.
and we never really said, "That's it, I'm done watching." We just quit doing it.
Yeah.
My
I
wife
think
fell asleep 3 out of the 6 episodes that she watched,
that
and
was the first warning for me, was I sat in my basement and watched the first 2 episodes the day that it came out, and halfway through the second episode, I was falling asleep because I was just bored.
yeah,
I
I say that's the thing about it. It's like if I mean, if it wasn't sticking to the lore and stuff, I would let some things go if it was just mindless action and
Yeah.
fun. But it was boring. I was like, how do you make? I've waited to see Numenor on the big screen my whole
Right.
life, and you made it boring. I
Yep.
can't believe it. Yeah, yeah. What a horrible, horrible waste of money.
I don't
Mm.
even honestly, like, to Dan's point there, I think there are a lot of scenes that did look really good, but there are a lot of scenes for me that gave me Hobbit movie flashbacks and/or initially when you saw the prequels
I was
flashbacks where
amazed at how
it looks so fake.
cheap the armor and the weapons
Yeah.
looked. It was like they looked like 3D
None of it
printer
looked
stuff. And I was like,
authentic at
and go and look
all.
at House of Dragon. It had
Yeah.
what a third of that budget, and it looked
Mhm.
amazing. I don't even understand. So
Go
I think
watch the Lord of
HBO
the
just
Rings
understands
movies.
how to do this better.
They do. They do. But, like,
You
go
can't
look at Lord of the Rings, those movies. Like, all of that shit holds up. It all looks so good. There's
they
probably
made
a
a whole
few
trilogy as much as
scenes.
it cost them to make 3 episodes of this
Yeah.
show.
There's probably a few scenes that don't look great, but, like,
Yes,
that take that
Philip, and
any
that's what
day.
we love about you. You've never read a
You
bad book.
like
You've never
everything.
watched a bad show. You've never watched a bad movie. I love that, man. I love your
You're just, like, the
positivity.
most happy,
And I wouldn't
peaceful
say you're the
person on the
only one,
planet.
Philip. I did have several people that said they were enjoying Rings of Power, and
Yeah.
that's fine.
More
That's
power to
fine.
you. I wish I did too.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'll watch it when
trust
it
me,
comes out again.
I would love to love a Lord of the Rings show. I really, really
Right?
would. I really would.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's gonna be 5 seasons of it, so
mm,
hopefully it gets better
mm.
because they already paid for it.
So how are you feeling about your Red Rising reread? Is it sticking as well for you this
Oh,
time as it did the
God,
first
it's
time, or
so
more?
good.
Yeah.
It's honestly better in a lot of places.
Which book you on?
I'm finishing up Morningstar in the next couple of days, and that whole intro sequence of Morningstar hit
Oh
just
yeah.
as hard. And there were certain moments in Golden Sun that still, like, I dreaded getting to the end, even though I knew exactly what was happening. But I feel like I picked up a lot more on just like how Pierce Brown writes certain scenes, and they hit really hard every single time. Like, I know
Mm.
exactly what's going to come, and it's still just as good.
Hmm.
It was honestly like rereading the Red Wedding or all of A Sword of Storms or A Sword of Storms, A Storm of Swords. I'm just making up books now. Where like
I'd read it.
you know exactly what's going to happen, and it's so well written that it's still fantastic. And I have a feeling I'm going to like Iron Gold a lot more this time around, which I didn't really love it the first time around because as soon as he split to multi POV, I didn't like half the cast,
Right.
which kind of
Right.
turned me off. And the first time I read Red Rising, like I was talking to you about it, I was sitting there like, why is he so hyped for this book? Like I almost put it down multiple
Yeah.
times. And then I got to the end and I was like, all right, let me get through this. And then Golden Sun kicked my ass. This time
Right.
around, I loved the entire journey so far. Like I have zero complaints. And then people tell me like, oh no, but what about this? What about that? I'm like, I literally don't care. It's so good.
Yeah. Look, I think I enjoyed my reread of Red
Mhm.
Rising more because, at this point, I know which characters I love and which
Yeah.
characters I hate, that kind of thing. Where at first I was just like, I mean, I went into Red Rising with just the wrong set of expectations. I was just like, I want Ender's Game, I want, Song of Ice and Fire, or something like that. And
Yeah.
I felt like I got adult Hunger Games. I felt like that's what I was
Hmm.
getting with it. And on this reread, I found a lot of things that I had misconceptions about. Like
Yeah.
the first time I thought that Darrow was just like a Gary Stu, Mary Sue, whatever. The whole time I'm like, dude, he
He
fucks up
messes up
constantly in
all the
this book. I was
time.
like, what was I thinking? This guy's nothing but a fuck up.
Yeah.
But yeah, Golden Sun, just as awesome. I remember Morning Star is like right there
Hmm.
for me. What puts Golden Sun over the top? Just that ending is just
So good.
that's the first time I think since the Red Wedding that something affected me like that in a
Yep.
book. It was just like, holy shit, to where I call it the Gold Wedding now. It's so good. It's so good, guys.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, that's a spoiler to say that. I'm like, so if I tell you the ending is great, that's a spoiler. I mean, I don't know what to say here, but where do you stand on that with it? With people always telling you that that's a spoiler in your non-spoiler review?
I don't give a shit anymore, honestly.
And you don't booktube anymore. Never mind.
No, but like even when I mean, I'll get back to it eventually, but like um I kind of stopped caring that much about spoilers
Hmm.
as like certain things where I remember in one of my Dresden reviews, someone was like, "Oh, you said the name Michael. That's a spoiler." I was like, "Fuck off." I was like, "You have no idea who Michael is just because I
Well,
said
I
Michael's a
had
cool
one guy
side
today
character."
that was messaging me saying that he was watching. He was started reading the Tommy Knockers, and first of all, I was like thoughts and prayers. But he was probably 100 pages into it, and he watched my review, and he got mad that I mentioned tentacles, that was a spoiler, and I'm like, I gotta talk about the book something. I have to talk about something about the book, even in a spoiler-free review. I was like, if you feel like I'm giving stuff away, finish the book, then watch
Yeah.
it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I already feel like I'm not telling people anything when I talk about non-spoiler reviews,
It's a
and
problem because I mean
now
there's
I can't even mention anything from the book,
yeah.
so it's
It's
rough.
always
It's
the
rough, but
It's the tightrope you have to walk with spoiler-free reviews because you want to talk about the book, but you don't want to ruin it.
mm,
But you like, there's so many reviews that if you do a non-spoiler review, you could be talking about anything because you don't say anything about the book,
these characters were great. I really
right?
liked them.
Wow, that scene. Oh man, yeah,
Yeah, right, right. So I mean, it's rough, and that's why if it's a series I really, really love or want to talk about, that's why I did the spoiler talks for them now, and that's why I'm doing all that stuff for Red Rising
yeah.
and all that stuff that I can't. I've never had as hard of a time selling a series as I've had with Red Rising. It's so weird. I can get people to read just about anything. I'm like a salesman for just about any series, but that and Drizzt are like the only two I cannot sell to people, no matter what. And Drizzt, I
I mean,
understand. People
Chris
see
is like a
40 something
classic
books and
though.
they're like,
Like,
no, no, no
yeah,
way. I get that, but man, Red Rising, I'm just like, please just try it.
why is it so hard to sell on people though?
I don't know.
It's
I
so
think that
good.
people just have this in their mind that it's just YA. They just got that in their mind. And I try to tell them, oh my God, if I could tell you what happened in Dark Age, you would not call this series YA. And they're like, oh, so I got to read 5 books. I'm like, no, it gets you there slowly. It
Yeah,
just doesn't start, straight up with Joe Abercrombie, but it
yeah.
definitely gets there.
I mean, even Golden Sun. I mean, there's a ton of horrible shit in Golden Sun. Like, it gets adult real quick. I
Hmm.
mean, I can understand some of the complaints for Red Rising, and that was most of my issues the first time reading it was I felt like it was immature, and I felt like it was a like angry teenager writing half of it, which is kind of accurate, as I've been told. But yeah, I don't know. I love it now. I have
Book names are spoilers now.
yeah, right. The
Yeah,
Dark
well, good,
Tower,
good. I'm
shit.
glad more people are reading Red Rising, and I have it. I've been really, really pleased with the people that are on this reread or the first
It's
time
good,
read, they're
man.
really, really enjoying it. And I'm happy. I was kind of nervous because, so were a lot of people that were still iffy, or the first time they read Iron Gold, they didn't like it. They're liking it more this time. And I think it
Yeah.
is. You go into multi POV and he throws 2 new POV characters at you, and everybody's like, no, where are my characters? I want to see my characters. I just tell him, just trust him. He's going to get you there. I'm still iffy on Lyria, but I like what's going on around her. So there's that.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
love the
everything that
other
she was a
POV character.
everything
So
she was a part of in Dark Age was good,
yeah.
and getting that scene, like, I completely understand what he was doing in Iron Gold by introducing that character. I couldn't stand her that entire book, and I also didn't like Ephraim that entire
Mm,
book.
mm.
By Dark Age, I did, and then
So
obviously
that's why I
things
think maybe
happened.
this go around at the end. Yeah, because they don't do very likable things in
Yeah,
Iron Gold, But here's the thing: I don't think anybody does anything likable in Iron Gold. Everybody's a piece of shit in Iron
everyone's a
Gold. That's
piece
why
of
they're
shit.
tough for some people.
Yeah.
It's full of Song of Ice and Fire. He's just
Oh yeah.
full on. Everyone has ulterior motives. Everybody's looking out for number one.
Yeah.
Everybody's being shitty, and Darrow's still fucking up like
Yep.
constantly. I mean, for a guy that gets so many good results, oh my god, you
I
mess
mean,
up more than me on a
he's
math
that
test.
typical like headstrong character. He always thinks he's the smartest person in the room,
Mm.
and oftentimes he is. But even most of the time when he is, he doesn't think about anything. He's like Dresden. It's like, here's the one path I'm going to take, and if it works out, great. And then when it works out, and everyone's like, "Yeah, but you just killed all these other people too," and he's just like, "Oh shit!" like it's that kind of scene all the time. He either completely fucks it up, or he wins, and then they're like, "Yeah, but like that house collapsed."
He's like,
and the
I
entire
just saved 10,000 lives. Yeah, but you just killed 7 million.
you just blew up an entire solar system. Like, oh shit. Yeah, I guess that's true.
Well, I hope you do dig it more this time. I'm looking forward to rereading Dark Age
Me too.
because that's the one that I think I read it so damn fast when it was
Yeah.
new. It's the one that I don't remember a ton about, honestly. I mean, I remember the big moments, but
Yeah.
I think there was a stretch of that book that I actually struggled with that had to do with the planet Mercury, and I think I'll probably like it more this go around. But yeah, I'm just excited. I'm excited for this new book
Me
coming out
too.
here.
I was honestly, I remember being exhausted, like physically and mentally exhausted when I finished that book because of just the subject matter, his exhaustive detail into gore and violence. And it was just so long and dark. And I was drained by the end of it.
Yeah. Pierce Brown does a good job in that first slow way of making you feel like you're crawling through the muck. You just like you finish the book and you're just like, I just need to go take a shower.
Right.
Feel abused.
Dark Age has one of the coolest moments for me though in that entire series, but I guess I shouldn't spoil it here. But
I mean, you already said the name of the book. Jesus.
oh
Christ.
shit, you're right.
Yeah. See, that's why I tell. Where is it? So it's not just a clever name. Yeah. That's right.
Very much directly. It's a Dark Age.
I have the eyes of a Fremen. They're blue, but not quite that blue. They're usually mostly bloodshot, But I actually got good sleep for a change last night. But yeah, definitely addicted to the spice. You see those new Dune Deluxe editions, the Doom Messiah and Children of Doom? They're sexy, man. They're sexy.
Are they? They're basically the same as the like Barnes and. Well, I have the. There was the one special edition that came out, and then I got the Barnes and Noble version of that special edition, and it's basically just a color change of the cover. Like everything else is identical, so I felt like I got kind of scammed. But I'm gonna buy those for sure. And I didn't even like Messiah or Children of Dune that much, but I'm definitely gonna collect them.
No, I get that. I'm just glad you like Dune because I remember when you were reading for the first time.
It's still my favorite sci-fi book.
Because you read Ender's Game right before it and you hated it, and I was like, oh no,
I
God, they're
didn't
gonna
hate
they're
it.
gonna hate it, and I'm gonna have to fire them into the sun. But you guys,
I didn't hate it. I thought it was way overhyped, and everyone was talking about how it's the greatest sci-fi book ever. And then when I read it, I was just like, really? This one?
Yeah, that's me with Name of the Wind. I get that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's the greatest
still haven't
fantasy
read
book
that.
since Tolkien. I'm like, wow, fuck, really? And I'm like, oh, I guess you guys skipped George R.R. Martin. Okay, cool.
Right? Yeah. Storm of Swords is still the best fantasy book I've ever read.
It is. I actually haven't even finished, but I am rereading because that's a beast of a book, and I just I'm getting behind on my schedule because this book's just
everything happens in that book.
So long. But yeah, it's like look at that book, how thick it is, and you're like,
never a dull moment.
Pages. Zero wasted pages. Every plot
fat.
matters in that book, and that's amazing because we're epic fantasy readers. We'll read books that long all the time. Not nearly that much happens in it though.
No,
not even close. I mean, that one book probably has more than most 7 book series.
that
come out now. It's amazing.
Every 100 pages is just another gigantic show-stopping moment. It's so good. I even forgot when I went back and reread the whole series with Jimmy and Lyanna. I had forgotten how much happens in a Game of Thrones.
Mm.
Like that book is packed with stuff. And I kept being like, that happened in this book? Like, how did I forget that? Because it had been 10 plus years since I had initially read it. It's just such a good series.
Yeah, those first 3 books are pretty much as flawless as you can get with anything, and I still like 4 and 5. In fact, I'm gonna enjoy this read. I'm gonna do that hybrid reading where they put book 4 and 5 together in chronological order. I'm gonna read
Oh,
it
that's
that way.
so weird.
It's gonna take me like a month and a
Yeah.
half, but still, I'm really really excited about that. It's gonna be exciting.
So how does that work though? Like, who did that?
There's several different reading orders. They tell you what chapters to read them, what order to read them in.
Okay.
Hey, read chapter 1 of Feast for Crows. Read this chapter of A Dance with Dragons. It just tells you the way to go as chronological, and that way you don't have to go 2,000 pages before you have another Tyrion chapter.
Yeah.
I had
That's
to
a
wait
choice.
between those books. I had to wait a decade for another Tyrion chapter. And what do you know? I've been waiting another decade for another Tyrion chapter. So it all worked out in the end.
Mike, I hate to break it to you. I don't think.
Oh man, I accepted
You're
that.
ever
I
gonna
accepted
stop
that while the
waiting.
show was still running.
Yeah.
When the show passed the book is when I said it's never going to happen. And here's the thing: at the time, I was being just a bitter little asshole about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm accepting the show. What they do from here on out is canon. And then I got what I got, and I was like,
Womp
I take it
womp.
back, George. Finish this, damn it.
Yeah. I mean, he's helping write a lot of Duncan Egg, the show. So I mean, I don't ever expect him to finish the main series, but if he's gonna give us kick-ass television, you know what? That's fine.
I think that, what me and Scott have been saying is like, look, if he never writes another page, hey, I am thankful for what I got. It's
Still one of the greatest fantasy series ever.
It is. And
Yeah.
I do think that worst case scenario, we get Winds of Winter, even if it's posthumous, but
Yep.
Dream of Spring will remain a dream of spring, I think. So, and that's sad. It sucks, but again, take what you can get.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, though, like rereading that book, all of the books, all 5 of them, I think when we were doing live streams for those, it was 3-hour conversations every single time. Like, and we probably didn't even touch half the shit you could talk about.
I'm going to be talking with Alex Tall Guy Reads this weekend about this weekend or 2 weekends from now, I think. Yeah. About Storm of Swords for that panel. And there's 5 of us. I'm like, that might go 4 hours.
It's going to be a 6-hour conversation.
I was like, I don't know. I better make sure that, I bring like a bedpan or something in here. Else I'm gonna
we even did 3 hours of Fire and Blood and loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. It's good. Yeah. Yeah. Philip knows. No regrets. No regrets at all.
No, none.
So the ending of the show was an elaborate plan to get people interested in him finishing the books. I think so, because I felt like I had gotten to the point where I had let it go. And I think when I did my reread of Fire and Blood was when I actually started getting excited again and being like, shit, well, maybe Fire and Blood, maybe House of Dragon be successful. Like, light that fire. Nah, stop it, Mike. Don't do that to yourself. You had finally accepted it. Don't let yourself get hurt again, but
yeah. So what was your raw initial like first reactions to House of the Dragon when it came out?
I was overwhelmed. It exceeded my expectations. I mean, I thought it was going to be good. I actually made a video saying like why I think it had a chance to be better than Game of Thrones, because I think that when Game of Thrones started, like that first season, it was very faithful, but it was like a CW budget. It was, I mean, they spent all their money on costumes and the sets.
Yeah,
they didn't have much money for anything else. And it's still great, but I mean, go back and watch it now. It looks pretty cheap. It does.
It's still so good though.
It is. It's brilliantly right. Obviously, you look at the source material. You're following the source material there. That's when they were great. That's what I say about Dan and Dave is everybody hates them, but I was like, if it's a literal adaptation, I think they're actually pretty good.
Yeah, they're good at.
So I think they were going to be doing the what's it called, the 3-Body Problem series, where they were doing that. People were mad about it. I was like, well, look, I mean, I DNF'd that first book, so I don't really know. But I think that them having done source material will actually probably be pretty good at it. Pretty good.
I mean, as much as I shit on them for what happened in those last seasons, I also kind of feel for them because, like, what a bullshit task. Hey, go write the ending of A Song of Ice and Fire.
This guy can't finish writing it. How the hell am I supposed to do it on the fly?
Yeah. It was, but yeah, House of the Dragon, like I damn near teared up hearing the intro music again, just because I felt like back home watching it. And when I got done with the first episode, I was like, this feels like when I first watched Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I think
and it
me,
stayed like
Scott, and
that.
Max were talking about like literally the first scene you see a dragon flying across King's Land. I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm back, I'm back. This is great.
Yep.
Yeah, so I
They knew
think
what they were doing.
if you and that was the thing is like I wanted to know how people felt that didn't read Fire and Blood. How are they feeling about it? I feel like there's a lot of people who really did enjoy it. And I feel like they're trying to talk themselves out of liking it now. And I think it's just because they just wanted to protect themselves from getting hurt again. I really feel
Yeah.
like that's what it is, because
It's
they're like,
so good.
okay, this is actually pretty good, but how are they going to fuck it up? And there
Yeah.
are other people who felt like it jumped the shark when you had like a dragon coming out of the ground and stuff like that. And I mean,
I love that scene.
I thought it was excellent, but I
We
get why people might not have liked it.
but
But
like I talked about that with some people in a video and just went in on these dipshits that are mad about that scene because I was like, what? They're like, it's so unrealistic. Like that would never happen. People would be rioting. I'm like, who? They don't give a shit about peasants.
this is
They're
unrealistic.
riding
Yes,
dragons.
it's got fucking dragons. Of course, it's unrealistic. I always hate that argument.
They're Targaryens. You think they care about poor peasants in King's Landing? They were
Exactly.
like,
I was like,
oh, she committed genocide. Like she
that's like
doesn't
letting
care.
water drop to them. They don't give
Yeah.
a damn. Well, geez, that isn't even where I was coming from. I felt like it's a really great idea because the way that Fire and Blood is written, it's so
Mhm.
much unreliable narrator. It's
Yep.
all this person told this person, this told this person. Think about something that happened 3 years ago and someone passed it down. It's different, right?
Someone was
Now
definitely
imagine
like,
you're
dude, I
talking
think
about
she came up from the
100
floor.
years after the fact of it being
Yeah.
passed down.
Hmm.
After history is written by the winners too. How do you think this is going to turn out? So I think they gave them a lot of wiggle room on the
Yeah.
show to be able to talk. Hey, this is how it actually happened. That way we can't, us book nerds can't be like that didn't actually happen that way because it's always maybe.
And they obviously filled in some direct answers to things that were kind of left open in Fire and
Mhm.
Blood, and take it or leave it if you choose to believe that or not. But
Yeah, like the Laris stuff on the show is like, oh my god, like Bernie
people were
Harrenhal. I'm like,
so
holy
mad about the
shit,
foot
yeah,
thing.
good
I
stuff.
was laughing my ass off that entire scene because I was like, this is so
Oh, the foot
absurd.
scene.
Yes.
Oh god, and that was a thing. And me and Madison talked about this. Like, I'm just so glad the memes are back. I didn't realize
Hmm.
how much I missed the Game of Thrones memes
Yep.
until we got House of Dragons. Like, oh my god, I love it. So many good memes.
So good. And yeah, so like obviously my wife hasn't read any A Song of Ice and Fire, Fire and Blood. She loved all of Game of Thrones. Like even up through season 7, 8, like didn't hate it as much as I did.
Mm.
Loved House of the Dragon. Fantastic. Loved
Yeah,
all of
my
the
wife
Last Kingdom.
said that she was intentionally not going to read Fire and Blood, just see
Yeah.
how she felt about it. And she liked it for the most part. She got mad several times about she kind of because she kept flipping sides between the greens and the
The Greens
blacks.
and the
I'm like, yeah,
Blacks.
you'll
Yeah.
do that more than once.
Yeah.
Trust me. But
None of these people are good.
yeah, and
Just
that's the thing is I
accept
hear
it.
a big complaint about it where people are like, oh, there's like no one to root for. I was like, well, welcome to the world of Ice and Fire.
Root for them anyway. They're all pieces of
Yeah.
shit.
It's great. Someone asked me earlier, and I missed it. So I want to bring it up here. Seven Kings Must Die. You watched it yet? I know you're
I
a big
haven't watched it yet
Western.
because my wife and I are probably going to watch it tomorrow.
We had planned to watch it over the weekend, then we just got busy and
Yeah.
stuff just didn't. How it goes with kids. It can just time
I
can
was
get
out
away
of
from you.
town the night that it came out, so I had to wait. So we're gonna watch
I've
it
heard
tomorrow.
mixed things. I've heard some people say it's great, and I've had other people be like, it's kind of a letdown. But I also think it might be that they're trying to jam pack 3 books into one, 2-hour movie,
Hour and a half
maybe.
or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but for me, it's just I get to see Uhtred and Finan and the boys again. I'm here for
It's
that.
probably gonna feel rushed.
Yeah.
But I don't know the writing team behind it. So like I assume you finished all the show, right?
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
how did you feel about the last like season or two?
We liked it all except the last episode. We were like, okay, we've been waiting this long for the whole Babenberg resolution.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, it got really fairy tale with the rainstorm there. I was like, okay. But I mean, for the most part, it was really, really good. I mean,
Yeah.
it did feel like, you remember how in Friends, when they teased Ross and Rachel forever, and then they got them together in the last 10 minutes of the last episode out of
Like
nowhere?
actually together, yeah.
Kind of how I felt about the Babenberg thing. I was like, this should have been the entire season. It should have been the entire season of this, but
Yeah.
it's
I couldn't
nitpicky. It's a
take
great show. So,
I thought it was great. I think somebody, I want to say it was Kyle, told me that the entire like writing staff changed after a few seasons, which is why the quality kind of changed and the direction and some of the scenes changed. I kind of got annoyed by a lot of scenes toward the end. Like I still love it overall,
yeah.
but I definitely did see like a step down in quality, and I felt like characters started making some like really dumb decisions. especially strategically, when like
Yeah.
literal kings are just walking up to a wall of a fortress and being like, "You must surrender." I'd be like, "Just shoot him, just
Yeah.
kill him right now."
Yeah, it's like, man,
Um,
look, I understand, like, you wanna be there for your people and you wanna
yeah,
inspire confidence, but, like, you're kind of important. You need to
yeah.
stop doing that. You
Well, it
almost
was
got
like
pushed
Game of
off a
Thrones did
cliff.
the same thing too, like with Daenerys, like literally just walking up to it and just having a conversation with Cersei. I'm like, she would just kill you.
Mhm.
Why are we doing this? It's
Yeah.
silly.
Yeah, that's one things I feel like I gotta be like, it's a TV show, it's fantasy, let it
Yeah,
go, let it go,
yeah.
let it go, even though, it's just
Turn your brain
historical
off a little bit.
fiction. But I
Yeah,
was like, yeah, sometimes I kinda with me is how when people said that they thought the Vikings stayed good, but it wasn't as good
I
after
was about
Ragnar
to
left the
ask you about
show.
Vikings.
I kind of felt the same about Last Kingdom, where it was like really good, one of my favorite shows on TV. But after
Yep.
Alfred left, it was good. It wasn't amazing like it
Yeah.
was when Alfred was there. When it was Alfred and Uhtred together, that show
hmm
was as
The chemistry
good
was
as
off the
Game of Thrones'
charts.
peak, I think.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And the Vikings, obviously, Ragnar not being like the main focus of the show,
Yeah,
like that dude was the show.
yeah, he was amazing. Yeah,
And you try to
that
fill
was
it
one of those
with
things where I
like
was like,
other
hey, I think
cast.
it'd be okay if you guys change history a little bit and just
Yeah,
keep him on the show.
just keep him alive forever. He's the king of the world.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I don't know.
that
You
show
think
got kind of out there.
are you excited about the Warlord Chronicles adaptation? Have you read Warlord Chronicles?
I haven't yet.
Oh, okay.
I still haven't even read all of Saxon Tales yet.
Yeah, I read Warlord Chronicles because I was like, that's 3 books, I can manage that. But I was
Is
like,
it only
Saxon,
3?
yeah, yeah, it's just a trilogy, and
Oh
they're
shit!
quick. I read all 3 of them in a month. But I think that's the Saxon stories.
It's
It's
like
quite an undertaking. A lot of people
13
told me
books.
those are good to kind of break up because they do
Yeah,
start to feel repetitive or formulaic if you read them all in a row.
yeah, I can
So,
see it. I mean,
I
it
mean,
is
I
Uhtred
want to
kind
hope
of
so,
retelling the
Brian.
story.
I wanna hope so. That's good because I just saw what they did with this material with Last Kingdom.
Yeah.
But when it comes to any adaptation of anything fantasy related,
hmm
hope for the best, expect the worst. Because we've had more bad than we've had good. If it was on HBO, I feel incredibly confident. Incredibly
Yeah.
confident if it was on HBO.
I mean, I don't know, like the first couple seasons of Vikings, I thought were fantastic. And then obviously it starts to like slowly, okay, Jane, I will
I know
slowly
she's
go
such a good
downhill.
salesperson.
Right? I mean, that's all it takes. Um, Last Kingdom, I mean, again, first couple seasons, like amazing, zero complaints. And then it did kind of go like a little bit down, but still overall much better than not. But like Vikings to me did a lot of dumb shit with like when they went to Russia or
Yeah,
whatever.
the
And like
Russia stuff was
it was, I was like, what is
if it
this? This
wasn't
is
for
so,
Ivar, that probably would have lost me. I'd say he
yeah,
was really, really great. But yeah.
yeah.
No, I'm with
It
you.
was, yeah, no, I mean, to TK's point, yeah, 3 books means nothing. And they're probably relatively short. They're not 1,500 page books.
Yeah, I say I read all 3 of them in a month, but seriously, those 3 books were shorter than a. Book.
Yeah.
Really, they were.
That was when I first read The Last Kingdom. I was like, oh, it's like 350 pages. This is real short. And then most normal people are like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm reading the Fever Dream right now, and I was
Yeah.
like, wow, for a George book, that's that's quick. I mean, I think I read like a quarter of it today.
How
So
was that?
it's mixed for me so far, and
Yeah.
it's probably an unfair comparison because this is George really, really early in his career. I'm
hmm
like, his prose, his penmanship, amazing as always. I mean, he's
Yeah.
one of the best ever, and that's evident here. But I was like, as far as the story goes so far, I was like, this is feeling a lot like Walmart Vampire Chronicles, which I love by Anne
Yeah.
Rice. And I'm like, I don't know how I feel about it. So it might be wrong of me to be comparing that, but
Probably.
that's just kind of how I'm feeling right now. It's hard for me to shake it because it's almost the same time period. It's almost the same damn location. And it's just like,
Oh, yeah.
man, I'm having a hard time. And I don't doubt that he read Interview with the Vampire and said, hey, I can do this.
Heavy inspiration.
Yeah, for sure.
Have you read any of his like other stuff?
I have. This is the first non-Ice and Fire book of his I've read. I didn't say that, Scott. I just said I did think he's amazing. I'm just saying that it just feels like I've read this done better so far.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will get better. I think all of his vampire scenes are really awesome. I think I could do with a little less of him describing how to build a steamboat, but that's George. I'm going to get those things. I'm waiting for him to start. I noticed he did have that knack for talking about food because, like, one of the
Oh,
characters
did
is
he?
fat. He's always talking about food and dessert and stuff. I'm like, well, so George always did do this. He liked to
That's
talk about
great.
what he was eating. Yeah. So,
Is there any pink mask references or anything?
no, but he did have like a very gratuitous, let's just put it that way, gratuitous full frontal kind of death scene. So
Yeah.
it's still George being George.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
Yeah, but it being so quick, you know, and I was reading what that and this one. So I'm reading my 2 shorties before I start that Ryan Cahill series. Then we starting here pretty soon. That's my first book blurb, man. First book blurb.
Yeah.
I got a blurb on the back. I mean, self-pub, it still counts. Counts. First, believe it or not, it's the first person who's ever asked me.
Nice. That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
super
one
cool.
of these days I'll be up there with the big boys like Alan and get my name on
Audiobook
big time
narrator.
authors like Thiago Abdallah in the chat
Yeah.
here. But yeah, I'll get my name on some books here pretty soon. I'm excited about it. You know, actually, I take it back. Chris Verrocchio did ask me, and his publisher was like, "No."
Was that before or after they switched?
That was the old one. They I
see.
have a good relationship with. They might actually at least let it be on the inside. You know.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. I'm happy for Chris for going back there because I feel like his publisher was just dicking him around. So I think that guy's an amazing talent. And that's not just because I know the guy personally. I mean, the guy, you've read Christopher's books, you know the guy can write his ass off. And I'm like, this guy, I don't know how he hasn't gotten snapped up by Orbit.
Right?
Because he seems like the way he puts his output and how much they give to sci-fi authors, I think that he would rake at Orbit. So I'm still hopeful, but I do know that, you know, Bane's kind of like a security blanket. You know, he was an editor there for a long time. So that's they're going to take care of him. And I'm glad they're working with him to try to make sure the covers match and things like that. It's just really dickish, you know, that he had it in writing that he could finish his series in a certain number of books, and then they get bought and they're like, yeah, we want you to end this now. It's like, so you're looking at this author whose sales are in an upward trajectory. Each book's selling more than the last.
Yeah.
You're like, no, just end it. What the fuck are you thinking? How are these people getting charged?
Well, it was like Durfee. Like Durfee wanted 5 books, and they're like, nah, you got 3. Like, why? Give him 5. Now his 3rd book is just 1 million pages long.
Yeah, I still feel bad I haven't finished it.
Did you finally at least read the other 2?
Oh yeah, I read the first 2 and like back to back. I loved them.
Yeah.
And with book 3, it was just I got lazy over Christmas and I wasn't reading that much.
Yeah.
And then I had all these plans for read-alongs and all this other stuff I was doing. It just kind of got lost in the shuffle. And every time I have like a free moment to read something, I never think about it.
Yeah.
So one day I'll be like, hey, stop being stupid and go read Brian's book because Brian's
just one of those things, man.
And I love
it. Was like me with Live Ship. Like I read Ship of Magic 8 months ago and just for whatever reason never continued. So now I just like haven't continued yet, which I should because I love Hobbs writing. But for some reason,
I love Live Ship Traders, man. That's my favorite series that I've read. I've read the three trilogies, and that's not even close. It's not even close for me. Live Ship Traders is like leaps and bounds above the other 2. Oh yeah, I love it.
I might have to reread it.
I don't like seafaring stuff, but that's how
why I'm surprised. I just love Fitz so much that like after I finished Farseer, like that first trilogy, I thought was incredible. And then when I read Ship of Magic, I was like, yeah, it's good, but I want more Fitz, to be honest.
Wait a second, Philip, you named a character Bagsack? Come on, dude.
Nice.
Come on. Tell me you didn't do that on purpose. I know that.
That's fantastic.
Gary's got something to say to you here about
Listen. Everything Robin Hobb writes is gorgeous and wonderful and amazing. I will continue the series at some point, but I love Fitz so dearly that she's just all capsing at me. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll go read it.
I want to know more about this Bagsack. What are you thinking, man? Bagsack.
Is he the main character?
No, I forgot. Someone told me the main character's name, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's Philip, Mr. Beowulf." I can see that name for sure. Here we go.
Yeah.
Bagsack is a genuine Old English name, I promise. Maybe you were drinking the Old English when you were writing.
Yeah, right.
No, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. I can't wait to read it. I'm very excited.
I gotta get a copy. I'm sure it's fantastic.
Yeah, Philip actually sent me a nice autographed copy with a very nice note in the front of it that might have made my allergies flare up a little bit. He's a very, very nice man. He's a very, very nice man. He really, really is. Really, really is.
Yeah, he is. Probably the nicest person I've ever met on this entire platform.
Yeah, Philip. It's
easily.
I saw like one of the. I told Philip, you're doing something right when you got trolls on Goodreads. Because he had like a 1-star review.
Oh my god, are you talking about the person that was just like all of his friends are giving him 5 stars? So I'm not even gonna read it. And I hate
Philip network and get to know people,
right?
And they want to help support him. Oh God, what a terrible, terrible person,
right? Your friends like your books? God, you bastard.
But I mean, I was like, be honest. I was like, it's a highly educated man, very, very
Mhm.
smart dude, and he's read lots of fantasy and historical fiction. Do you think he wasn't going to be good at this? I mean, come on. So I mean, that was clearly just someone just being a dick, you know.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he runs circles around us anytime we talk about Faithful of the Fallen, and we'd all be talking about how good the book was. And I like this scene. He's just like, well, historically accurate. He goes off on this like history lesson.
right.
I'm just like, I'm just an idiot sitting here reading the book. I'm just like,
I think
yep.
the most I've ever felt like a dummy in my life was talking Beowulf with Philip. Now,
Mm.
gentlemen, don't get me wrong, but I'm just like, I feel like I'm so out of my element right now.
I
I
felt
mean,
like I
Philip
was
starts this
Joey in that
conversation
episode of
off 60
Friends.
seconds speaking another language. I'm like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Because they're like that scene in Friends when they're all talking about like Vietnam War or something, and Joey's just in the background like, ah, ha, ha, yeah.
What a nice day we're having. Yeah. Oh man. So I saw something up here. I wanted to put on the screen. I missed it.
What was it? I
Probably
dare you
Dairy
be mad at me.
talking shit more.
I know. I will. It's all intertwined. I understand.
Mm.
I will
So
read
you
it.
see anything at the theater? Do you see Dungeons and Dragons or Mario movie or any of that stuff yet?
I haven't been to a movie since Dune,
Mm.
which I saw in IMAX and was one of the most like breathtaking experiences that I've ever had in a movie
Right.
because it was amazing.
Right.
But no, I've heard Mario was great, and I heard the D&D movie was a lot of fun. So I want to watch them both. I have to get a
Think I've got
babysitter and just
Dune.
you know,
We went and saw Elvis, but other than that, everything else we've done has been kids movies.
yeah.
You know, but that's just because we have a drive-in out here where it's
That's sweet though.
it's like $10 and it's double features, and we would
That's
just
awesome.
go during the daylight savings when it would get dark at like 6 o'clock, and they would start
Yeah.
the movies early. That way, both kids can stay up for it. But yeah, we did a lot of that. But I've heard great things about D&D.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It looked a lot of fun, and if it's not taking itself seriously, it's probably going to be at least fun
What I said, I
because
felt like every time they try to do a D&D movie serious, it just doesn't
you
work out.
can't.
So I said what
Have
this
you?
movie to me looked like after I saw the trailer. I was like, it looks like they got this cast together and said, we want you guys to play a D&D campaign together.
Yep.
And no matter what happens, that's what we're putting on the screen because that's exactly what it looks like. I think that's what you should have done. You should have done.
I mean, that's what it is. Like, if you've ever watched or played D&D, like, or listened to a D&D podcast, or like, completely insane, ridiculous, stupid things happen all the time, and that's why it's fun.
And where in most cases I'm against them trying to make everything be like a Marvel movie, but for that it was like that actually looks like that's the right tone for it. And
Yeah.
clearly it was right. It's supposed to be pretty good. So
Speaking of Marvel, are you up to date on all that shit, or because I stopped basically watching most of it after Endgame?
Endgame, I said to me was the ending. I was like, you've reached the peak. You're not gonna retire Jordan and Pippen, and I'm gonna keep watching the backup crew.
Yeah.
The writing was on the wall. It can't get better from here. There's just no way. Only reason I broke the rule was because if it's a Spider-Man, a Superman, or a Batman movie, I see it. So I saw the 2 Spider-Man movies. I tried watching the new Thor when it came on streaming, just because me and my kids love Ragnarok so much. 30 minutes, they were gone. About 45 minutes, I stopped it. I was like, man, how do you go from a movie we've watched a billion times to like not even be able to finish it? And I was just like, it's just not for me anymore.
I finished it, but even for me, I was like, you guys are going way too into the we're gonna have everything be a joke premise, and it lost me because the villain was super cool. Like, Christian Bale played the shit out of that character, and they should have just made it a darker movie.
Here we go, guys. That's the death knell right there. If Philip doesn't like what you're doing now,
yeah,
you guys messed up.
I
mean, look, I understand why they don't want to stop. I mean, those movies were printing money.
They still are.
Yeah. I mean, Ant-Man took a loss, but I was like, dude, it's a third Ant-Man movie. Who fucking asked for this?
Right?
It's Ant-Man. Jesus.
Yeah.
So I didn't expect it to do great, but it's gone longer than I expected it to. But who knows? They could do some change, and they could bring X-Men, and it's great again or something. It could probably happen. I don't know. If
I think they're just doing
that's
too
great.
much.
It's kind of how I am with Star Wars stuff. If you're still enjoying it, great.
Well,
it's just not.
Yeah. I mean, I was never a massive Star Wars fan either, but I feel like ever since Disney just took over and was like, well, if we're just going to make everything make $1 billion, just constantly make a new show. And that's why, like, every Marvel show, I'm like, how is there another one already? Like, the first one's not even done yet. You have 3 Marvel shows going at the same time. I'm just like, I can't keep up with all that. And I don't care to watch an entire series to get like all the tie-ins, and none of them were that good to me. So I haven't bothered with any of the shows, and half the movies. I was like, yeah, I'll watch it eventually. But like, I like the Spider-Man movie. That was fun. What is it even called? I don't remember.
Far From Home? Way Home? No Way Home? No Way Home.
No Way Home. Yeah.
No Way Home.
I
No,
thought
that
it
was
was
great.
fun.
That was great. It was
Yeah.
just nostalgia fest. I was like, seriously, that
Yes.
was like if they went on Reddit and they saw like fan castings. This is something that fans have written and they made it. And I was like, yeah, that's great. Fly with Ty. I love having people on here that don't agree with me lockstep. That's great. I mean, I think one of my favorite conversations I ever had was with Murphy, and we don't agree on anything.
Right.
You know, that's great. I mean, it's not my fault that Alex is wrong about Empire of the Vampire. It's not my fault. That's his fault. It's not my fault he's wrong about Ender's Game. That's his fault.
So what are your 3 favorite things about Empire of the Vampire? Was it the wonderfully written main character?
I like the sword. I like the villain. I don't know, man. I've read a lot of books since then.
Joke's on you. I haven't.
I don't know, man. I think I'm just so over the whole Disney Plus era of programming. I'm just not interested. It's just not for me anymore. I'm more into like the HBO hit or miss with Netflix. But really, I'm streaming, like I'm watching Succession right now. And I'm like every week, I'm like, that's the most gripping television that is on TV right now. There's no way that anything glossy, colorful, 98% CGI is that engaging. There's just no way.
It's not.
You know, so maybe I'm just got old, you know. I can accept that. I'm just like, if I'm just like the old dud now who's like everything sucks, that's fine. I don't know. When my kids don't even want to, when my kids tap out of The Mandalorian, you fucked up.
Yeah.
Fucked up.
I don't even watch. I think I watched the first season and I wasn't even that invested in it. And now I just see like pictures of, I thought it was a joke. I saw like Jack Black and
for real, I thought that was like an SNL.
I was like, I thought it was too, and I was like, is that real? Like that actually happened in a Star Wars show? Okay, this is what we're doing now. Yeah, my Disney Plus account right now is
Australian. It's an absolute pissa to read Kristoff stuff that drives you insane. I'm not sure what is funnier, to be honest.
I mean, hats off to you, everyone that tells me I'm wrong because it's very Aussie and that's what I'm missing. I guess I just don't get it then. But it was totally not for me. I hated that book.
Yeah, I have those things where I'm just like, I can accept, man. It's just a me thing. I can accept that. Like everyone thinks that Fool's Fate is the greatest book in Realm of the Eldlings. I'm like, you know, it just, some things just hit other people differently. And I think a lot of that also, you got to consider this for some people when it comes to like a series like that, is that they waited for years between some of these books and they got the payoff that they wanted. It was probably amazing. It was probably amazing. Sure. So I can accept that. All the time. I have no problem saying, hey, it's an unpopular opinion. Like a lot of people think that Name of the Wind is amazing. And I'm like, it's a me thing. It's Why is Loch Namora? Okay book. I don't understand why everybody throws their panties at it. You know,
that's because that book was amazing. I actually did love that book, to be honest.
I think that one kind of falls in line with where everybody thinks that I feel the same level with it that I did about Name of the Wind. Like, no, I despise Name of the Wind. Lies Loch Namora was fine.
Yeah.
It just wasn't anything where I was like, this is one of the best fantasy books I've ever read, that kind of thing.
I think Lies Loch Namora was one of the, like, I know it's not a standalone, but I think it functions so well as a standalone that it could be one of the best fantasy standalones that I've read, because I read the second book. I haven't read the third. And the second book was also really good, but I feel like didn't hold a candle to the first book. So I still haven't finished book 3 yet. I'm very bad at finishing series, apparently.
I've got this thing where I say I don't DNF very much. I was like, I won't DNF a book, but I'll DNF a series. You know, I've found tons of series, and that's why I made a video about, you know, hey, there's some series I'm never going to finish. I'm just calling it. I'm never going to finish them. And I felt like that's not a big deal. But I get all these people like, oh, with Malazan, you either need to shit or get off the pod. I'm like, no, I don't. Like, if you're just going to quit, why don't you just say quit? I'm not scared of Malazan fans, guys. If I was going to quit, I would say, yeah, I'm going to quit. You know, I'm married to a redhead. You think Malazan fans scare me? Come on, please. Some people don't understand that you got to take a break once in a while. It happens. Yeah, I mean, you can be like Alex and take a break and never come back.
Exactly. Hey, I'm here.
Hey, you're current on Dresden Files, right?
I'm what?
You're current on Dresden Files? You've read them all?
Oh, yeah. I've already reread the whole thing.
You reread it? Okay.
Yeah.
You got all those nice matching covers? Like the nice covers, not that shitty trade paperbacks I got.
Yeah,
it's
so
like
I have
between a mass market and a trade. It's like, I don't know. It's like a weird shape.
Oh, the like tall, skinny boys.
Yeah, you got the ones that all have like the matching spines, right?
Yeah, so I have the
Oh,
ones
they're
that you
nice.
got from like Book Depository, which is closing because Amazon is stupid and hates books. Um, that pissed me off because now I'm gonna have to get the rest of the series probably in hardcover, I guess. But that's my favorite fantasy series ongoing still by far. I love Dresden.
Yeah, I hate that. I finally got the point where I have to wait, and then and a lot of people are like, "Oh, too bad for you." I'm like, "Well, you know what? I was waiting for Song of Ice and Fire books before you guys even heard what it was, so I got turnabout is fair play." But yeah,
Yeah,
now that I actually have to wait for a Dresden book, it does suck pretty bad. Like the other day, I was starting to
yeah,
think about, you know, I'm glad I made all those spoiler videos because I might have to just re-listen to those on my own to remember when we get to this because
yep.
it's been what 3 years now, 2 years now since the
Since
last one. Who
Battleground.
knows when
Yeah.
the new one's going on? Apparently, he's done. He did finish. He did finish the next book.
Oh shit.
Or did
I
he say
didn't
he
know.
started? No, he finished Cinder Spires and he started writing the new Dresden book.
Oh,
So
that's way different than what
at
you
least
just
2 more
said.
years. Yeah, well,
I think he's done. Actually, no, he just started. Very different things, Mike.
yeah. Well, I'm trying to
I
keep
think
a.
I'm finally in the boat of waiting too, where Dresden's my favorite fantasy series ongoing, waiting for that. And then
Red
honestly, it's
Rising.
hard to decide between Red Rising and Sun Eater, which one I
Mm,
like more because they're different, but also have a ton of similarities. And I love both of them. And I'm waiting for both.
mm.
So
Yeah, I think Red Rising is definitely the one I'm most anxious for. If you're not counting Song of Ice and Fire, because I've accepted that.
yeah.
But as far as ongoing series that I think will be completed, that's the one that I'm most
Hmm.
anxious for, without a doubt. And this reread just kind of like just confirmed it for me. I was like, my God, I love this world so damn much. It's so
Yeah.
good. And yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
Scott. We're sorry.
got to the point where I'm not worried about them sticking the landing as much as I'm worried for my characters. I'm worried for my peeps.
Yeah, me too. And honestly, there was a while back, Pierce threw out half of his like
Yeah.
because it was too dark. I was like, what the fuck did you do?
If it's too dark for you, Jesus.
Right?
Yeah, really. I read book 5. Jeez.
Yeah.
Mm.
Dark Age was tough. So now I'm curious because he ended up splitting it. So now we're getting two more, and I don't know what that's gonna mean because
I just hope it isn't that long between them. I hope it really is just, hey, it was too long. We
yeah.
split it. And it's not, okay, well, I'm going to go polish it and it's going to be like another long wait. I hope not, because I really was excited of, hey, we're finally getting the ending, this year.
That's
And I'm
what I
like,
thought.
okay.
Yeah.
When he did say it, he did say that, Lightbringers this July and then Red God soon after is what he said.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that means,
So hopefully
that
it's
time
mostly
next year.
written.
Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked if it's like what Rockio did with his most recent Sun Eater
Just
book. Is he
completely
had
split
to
them.
split them and he had to write like a couple like chapters to kind of fill in the blanks to make it where you could split it here and
Hmm.
things like that. So I don't know. As long as we
How,
get it, man, I don't care.
yeah.
Just give it to me. Don't.
So
I've
between
waited this
Kingdoms
long.
of Death and Ashes of Man, which one did you like more? Because for me, it kind of it did feel like it was a book split in half in a lot of
Yeah,
areas.
I'd probably say I liked 4 better than 5.
Yeah.
Just because I felt like you got more Doriaika, and I like that stuff a lot. And 5, I felt like there was some parts where I was like, "It's pretty glacial. It's pretty glacial," and
Yeah.
I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Christopher understood the criticism. Of course, it turned into, "Oh, Mike hates Sun Eater now." But
So why do you hate
I
Sun
just
Eater,
can't
Mike?
stand them. I just can't stand them. No, Christopher's amazing. In fact,
Yeah.
a little teaser for you guys. Me and Christopher are going to be doing a joint announcement here pretty soon. So you guys
Ooh,
watch out for that. It's
spicy.
gonna be fun times. We got exciting stuff. We've been emailing back and forth about. I can't wait to tell you guys about it. I mean, it's Chris's news, but I can't wait to help. Announce some of these things that
Be
are
the
coming
hype
up.
man.
It's really exciting. Yeah, I'm being his hype man. So good, so good. I hope you guys like really, really beautiful books. That's all I'll say.
I actually,
Uh,
I think I liked Ashes of Man more because it reminded me the most of. I have heard that. I will. At some
with
point
me,
try it.
Alex Veris is the one that everybody always recommends. I mean, Jim Butcher himself recommended Alex Veris to me. And that's why I chose that one over Iron Druid. But yeah, I've heard all 3 of those series
Yeah.
and Monster Hunter always kind of get lumped in together.
Okay.
Monster Hunter
Yeah.
International.
For me, though, like Ashes of Man reminded me the most of Demon in White, which was my favorite at the time, and I love all the interactions with Hadrian and the Emperor. So that's why I love that honestly a little bit more than Kingdom of Death. I think.
Yeah, his stuff in Demon and White, the stuff at court is when I was like, after this is done, man, you've got to write a fantasy book. You're really
Right?
good at this.
He's
You've
so.
got to write a
Good.
fantasy book. So, hopefully
I
you
remember
guys.
reading Empire of Silence and just being blown away. Like I absolutely loved that series right from the jump, and I was just like, who the fuck is this guy? Like him and Robin Hobb are the two authors that I read and stopped reading at some points to just be like, damn, like this dude knows how to write.
Yeah.
And this was just a gorgeous thing that he wrote.
Yeah, I think it was funny is someone just kind of introduced us on Twitter, and I was like, okay, hi, and we just started emailing back and forth, and we're talking about Dune for 30, 40 emails back and forth. Like, okay, well, I'm gonna give this guy's a book a try, regardless, just because I like an author who will engage with his readers. That's a weakness for me. And when I started reading, I was like, holy shit, I had no idea it was like this beautiful, And so, getting more people to try Empire of Silence was really, really cool for me, because you can go and you look at if I look at the analytics from my review of Empire of Silence, it's went, because of interest has just kind of grown for that. So I think that's why Bane likes me. They help them get Christopher rolling a little bit.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. He deserves it.
And that's why I can say that, parts of his books were glacial and get away with it. So there we go.
Honestly, though, but I mean, so were Hobbes for some of it. Like Assassin's Quest was long as shit. And I understand the criticisms, but I love that book so much that the questing didn't bother me. And parts
you're gonna love Tawny Man then, because it's a lot more of that. It's a lot more of that.
Do you not love Tawny Man, Mike?
I liked it. I wouldn't say I love it. I felt like there was a little too much of. Well, also Fool's Errand is amazing. It's the best book in the series for me. It's absolutely wonderful.
Is it literally an errand?
Not at all. I read it in like 3 days. I never read a Hobb book in 3 days.
Yeah,
that's how good it was. And then you just had Impossible Shoes after that. I think Impossible Shoes to fill after that a little bit. And it's like the middle book is a lot of setup, and then the first half of the third book is more setup. It's like, okay, and then it's like explosion.
Yeah,
and then like the 18 Lord of the Rings endings.
Oh,
I mean, it's fine. It's just if you understand that you're going to get peaks and valleys, I think. But if you're one of those people who loved Assassin's Quest, you'll be right home. You'll love it. You'll love it. Yeah,
I just got to get to it.
Fitz picking up a strike lane.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not that far from the truth, honestly. Yeah.
And I'm sure it's gorgeously written, and I will love every second of it.
Guy, if you're a Hobb fan, you haven't read Sun Eater, you're doing it wrong. Look at Scott here. You're going to think it's damn it, Scott, stop it. None of us deserve it. It's a little bit of hyperbole. All right, so say time was not an option. Time was not an option, a factor for you. You had all the time in the world. You had infinite amounts of time and energy.
Oh, goodness.
What's a video that you'd like to make that you haven't yet?
Jesus. I don't know. I mean, that's hard to answer because I feel like so many other people just do it better.
When I was doing my Stormlight Archive reviews, I was like, everybody else has already done those, but okay.
I don't know. Like, I'll watch long form, like video essays of like Tolkien stuff every once in a while. And I get an itch to make something like that for like Dresden or Sun Eater or Red Rising. And then I just look around the internet and I'm just like, what else? Like, what can I even say that hasn't been said?
Well, see, with me, it's like, I don't know if I'm smart enough. I don't know if I'm smart
enough.
That too. I can fill out time easily. I can talk about anything, but I can also talk about a lot of nothing, where I'll look at someone like Philip and AP having these conversations. And I'm like, this is so far above my way of thinking that I just don't know if I'd be good the guy to do the essay thing.
There's been a lot of times where I watched something and I was like, I literally would have never thought of that.
Yeah. So we were talking about what Philip came on with me, and we talked about the ending of. We did spoiler talk about the last First Law book, the
Wisdom of
Crowds. Thank you. And I was like, I like this part, and he'd be like, yeah, and then this one, this and this and this and this and this. I mean, I didn't catch that at all, So I was like, I'm sure we're talking about a First Law book, and your stuff that he's pulling out. That's why I say so many people are different at the way they do these reviews, and I appreciate that. But as far as it comes like an essay or something, I don't think I'm the guy for that. No.
There was a while back. So after I saw Dune, I did my first movie review on my channel because I loved it so much. And that I actually took my time on that. And then I did like a welcome to Dune video based on the book, which that was probably the most time consuming video that I ever did. And then I had all these thoughts. So kind of to your question, I was like, shit, I'm going to make all these Dune videos. And then I was like writing down all these videos I want to make. And I was like, wait, that's just Quinn's channel. Quinn does this all the time. Right. I was like, I'm not going to do this. Quinn already did it.
Yeah,
and it's
people tell
probably
me all
way
the time, "Oh, yeah,
better.
you and Quinn should do a crossover." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure Quinn has an interest in doing a crossover with lowly old me." Dude's got like 800. He's got a million yet. I think he's got
I
like
don't
probably a
know.
million subs at this point.
Probably.
But no, I'm not that kind of channel. But I'm
Yeah.
glad you
I
like
mean,
Dune though, because I've heard a lot of people kind of mixed on the movie.
I loved it.
And
I understand some of the criticisms, and having seen how much was cut out of it, it does kind of suck that they left a lot of shit out that they literally filmed and just didn't
yeah,
put in the movie.
mm,
And then Denny saying he's not going to have like a director's cut is kind of upsetting because they literally have the footage of all the stuff that they did.
mm,
Um, but no, I was basically in awe the entire time in the theater, and it probably helps that I saw it in a giant IMAX because
yeah,
I don't know how else you watch that movie, but
right. No, that's
I
literally
loved
one of
it.
those movies where this was made for IMAX.
Yeah,
It's just I wanted my dinner party. That's
yeah.
probably my biggest
I
regret.
think they filmed it, and that's what sucks.
And the whole stuff between Thufir and Jessica was missing. I wanted
Yeah,
some of that. But
they
other
cut
than that, I mean,
a lot of
I'm
it.
nitpicking here,
Hmm.
but I can't wait to see what he does in the second half. I'm really
Yeah,
excited that the kid that played Elvis is playing.
Austin Taylor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Austin Butler. He's great. He's great. And I think he's going to absolutely kill it as Fade. And I can't wait to see what he does there.
yeah. I didn't
So,
even know who he was initially. I had to look it up. I was like, oh shit, that makes sense. Okay.
yeah, yeah. Florence Pugh is Irulan. I'm not sure. We'll see. I mean,
Hmm.
I know everybody loves Florence Pugh, but I'm like, I can't think of a movie of hers where I'm like, oh yeah, Florence Pugh was amazing in that movie. But
The Black Widow movie.
which I did not watch.
I didn't either.
Which I did not
I
watch.
just know that she's in it.
What's wrong with being a several fangirl?
Any relation to
Sorry, might as well know.
Nynaeve? What?
Uh, Joanna, you know
Yes.
what? You put some respect on Sting
No.
and a Speedo, all right? And dude, you want some of the worst all-time act. Like first time I showed my wife Dune 1984.
Mm-hmm.
There's a part at the end where Sting's like, "I will kill him." She just starts laughing out loud.
Yeah.
Like, it's supposed to be like the most serious part of the movie, and she's just laughing.
I
out
mean, it
loud.
was ambitious,
Yeah,
but
definitely ambitious.
there's only so, I mean, really bad CGI and effects aside, like, I think they just tried to do too much. And doing like an almost literal adaptation of the voice and like people just kind of looking at each other and not talking. But
Yeah,
it
bad
was,
idea. Bad
yeah,
idea.
it just doesn't translate to the screen.
I don't know the three body
Oh,
problem was the worst sci-fi in the world, but I think 50 pages in, I had a feeling that this isn't going to be for me, is it? For me,
what kind of
I
sci-fi
got
is it?
characters.
I haven't read it.
I mean, people feel strongly. They love it, or they're just like, so yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was her in Midsummer. Okay. Yeah.
But is three body more like philosophical or like
Yeah.
theme based?
It's an
Yeah.
ideas book. Yeah.
So do you hate classic sci-fi then?
I mean, I would consider Dune classic sci-fi, and no.
I mean like
I mean,
even before that, or just
I
like that
loved,
style of like heavy themes and ideas and not much like plot or characters.
Childhood's End. I love that.
Okay.
That was amazing, and I couldn't even tell you the name of a character from that book. Just the ideas in that book were just incredible.
That's Tchaikovsky, right?
Ray Bradbury. No, that's
Oh, no, I'm thinking of, never mind.
that's Arthur C. Clarke.
Yeah, yeah.
I love Ray Bradbury.
Mhm.
And his Mars Chronicles is one of the best sci-fi books I've read. But I haven't read Asimov. You
Yeah.
know, I know a lot of those Foundation and things like that are supposed to be really, really just thought-provoking, I think is what people always tell
Foundation's
me.
good though, because you get a ton of Dune in Foundation, so you might actually like it.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking. I was thinking I was going to start with iRobot when I read
Yeah.
his stuff, but I just haven't. And yeah, I read Starship Troopers, which is completely different than the movie, and it's one of
Just
those
a
things
little
like The
bit.
Shining where I like both of them.
Yeah.
The movie's basically like a satire of the book, and I love that. I love that, honestly.
It's funny
It
as
worked
shit.
really good. But yeah, Childhood's End, man. I read that 2
Yeah.
years ago, and I still think about it.
Have you read Rendezvous with Rama?
I haven't.
That's also
but
good.
I know that that's what Denny V wants to do after Dune. Is
That
an
makes a lot of
adaptation that.
sense.
And
Big
with me, when
space
it comes to Denny
spectacle.
V, if he says I'm making a movie, I say
Mhm.
say no more. I'm there. Him, Tarantino, and
Yep.
Christopher Nolan.
Yep.
I'll go. You don't even have to tell me anything. Like Oppenheimer, sure. I'm going. No doubt. No doubt. It's gonna be great.
Were you there day one for the Ender's Game movie?
I hadn't read the book yet. That's the thing is
Oh,
I didn't
really?
read the book until 2017 or so.
Oh,
That
wow.
was when I first read the book because I did that stupid thing where people are always like, there was like the Dune camp, And then it was like West Side Story, the Dune people and the Ender's Game people for the best sci-fi book of all time.
They were
So I was
spamming
like,
at each
I ain't
other.
reading that shit. Fuck it, you know. And
Yeah.
then I was like, wait, you used to like, you like Marvel and DC. You like WWF. You like WCW. You know what are you doing this juice and stuff? That's like saying, oh, I won't watch Arnold Schwarzenegger movies because I like Sylvester Stallone. You know. So I said, hey, yeah, why don't I go ahead and read this? I loved it.
Yeah.
Dune blows it away, but
Yes.
it's hanging out
Dune
with
is
it.
fantastic. So how are you on the Dune sequels then?
Mixed.
Wait,
I think if you do the
have you
Golden
read them
Path,
all?
I have.
Okay, yeah.
I even read the one Brian Herbert book is the only one I read was the one that
Oh, you almost said the 7th one.
finished Frank's story. Yeah, I don't call it Dune 7. Fuck you. Mr. Oh, I'm working off my dad's notes. Hey, can we see these notes? No. Okay.
Has he written like 15 of them now?
Okay. With me, the Golden Path is when the Atreides storyline ends. It's the first 4 books.
Yeah.
And maybe if Frank had been able to actually finish it, maybe he could have made Heretics and Chapter House make more sense. But
wasn't he like literally kind of like
dude was freebasing cocaine or something? Because I was like, this shit is.
I think he had like didn't he have like dementia or like what his brain was like?
It was pretty going. Yeah, he's pretty gone. I think that Dune Messiah and Children of Dune, I think you read those together and treat it as one book. It's good. You're never going to be as good as the first book, at least not to me. I mean, I've had some people say they liked some of the sequels better.
Yeah.
And then when he gets to God Emperor, man, you just got to be ready for. You want to talk about navel gazing? You want to talk about philosophical sci-fi, man? That's yeah.
I already felt that too much in Children because when I read Messiah, I thought it was okay, and it already felt wildly different than Dune.
Oh yeah, it's out there. It's out there.
And then I read Children of Dune, and already I was like, he is getting into some really weird shit.
Yeah.
And then they're like, you got to read God Emperor. Like, I almost want to just out of sheer curiosity, but
I mean, I think it's good. It's a good book.
Struggle.
You just got to understand, man. This isn't anything like you've ever read before. It's if people were just wanting to see the journey of Paul Atreides, I can understand that. Sequels probably aren't going to be for you, man. They really aren't because it's
true.
It's not a story about Paul Atreides. It really isn't. You know, and in the end, I would say it's more about Leto II than it is about Paul. But it's God Emperor is one of those things. It's like imagine if they made a movie of that and modern audiences trying to wrap their head around that. I don't think they could handle it. They can handle it. But here's the thing: is like some people they love it. God Emperor is their favorite freaking book in the series, and I get it. I get it. But man, it's not an easy read, and it's going to be something to challenge you a little bit. But I recommend it. But I do recommend you end there.
Yeah. Not
I have no interest in going on after that, honestly. Yeah. I've heard a lot about the Culture series, but I'm just thinking maybe I'm not the. I think Brent maybe realized this. I might not be the sci-fi guy that I thought I was, because a big thing with sci-fi is where you're reading it, and for about a third of it, you're like, I don't understand what the hell's going on right now. And some people love that.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of sci-fi writers like that. I don't like that.
That's why my 2 favorites are sci-fantasy, Red Rising and Sun Eater, because they do some of that. And like, to Rakio's credit, he's a brilliant writer. He's got beautiful prose, and he can absolutely do thought-provoking shit. And then he also gives you all kinds of violence and space battles and sword fighting, because you have to have sword fighting in a sci-fi novel.
Right.
So like, that's my kind of stuff. Or like The Expanse. Like, I love that. But like, I tried to read some Philip K. Dick, and I could not get into it.
I knew that Philip K. Dick was just going to be too weird for me, I'm sure. Yeah. So that's why I didn't do it. Hey, John. I think with anything classic sci-fi, I think you can get a little bit of that. With the modern sci-fi, I feel like they try to do it a little too much. Just be like, hey, they grew up reading Dan Simmons and reading Gene Wolfe, and they're like, how do I make this shit just as out there as I can get? And I get that. I just don't think that that's really my style. I do like something like The Expanse, which is a little more forward. You're going to have, okay, I got mysteries. I'm never questioning if this is actually happening or not.
Yeah.
Now, a Sun Eater, I don't mind, because I can pick this up and be like, Christopher, can you explain this to me like I'm 12? And he will do that for me. He's really, really great at that. Because there was a section in Kingdoms of Death, I was like, I don't know what the fuck just happened. Can you help me out? And he did. And I go back and I'm like, oh yeah, I see it. He was reading some Lovecraft, and he said, how do I write that into the book? And I appreciate it.
Or like
Appreciate that.
Howling Dark or the ending of Demon in White. I was just like, what? How? What?
Oh man,
No.
Howling Dark's like the last like 30% of that book. I was like, when are you doing that like recap video so you can tell me what just happened? Because yeah, I don't really get it. But what I think the one thing Red Rising has over Sun Eater, you ready for this? It has an amazing sci-fi weapon that's not just a copy of a lightsaber, because the razor is the baddest ass sci-fi weapon next to the lightsaber. Prove me wrong.
Yeah, I mean, Sun Eater basically has lightsabers,
Yeah,
so
it is, which I don't mind. I love lightsabers.
yeah.
I'm just saying that I appreciated a sci-fi series that gave me a new epic sci-fi weapon that wasn't just their variation of a lightsaber, which I know
It's
is
so
hard
cool.
because lightsabers are awesome. You know,
I just love that every sci-fi writer that's writing action this far into the future is like, all right, how am I just gonna have people fight with swords and shields?
oh yeah,
I
that was
love
my
that.
biggest problem with Red Rising. The first time I read it, I was like, I wanted like this big epic sci-fi thing, and I was like, I just got medieval fantasy on Mars.
Cavalry, castles. I was just
Yeah.
like, I remember the first time I read through that, I was like, are we even on Mars? Like, where are we? We're in a field with
I
castles
was
and
like, this is
swords and
actually just Wyoming, and you're telling everybody that's Mars, aren't you? That's what a twist. Yeah. So,
yeah.
yeah, I get that. Neuromancer is one that a lot of people have recommended to me. So I have all these sci-fi books now that I've got the opportunity, but
Yeah.
I just think that I always just tend to go back to fantasy or you know.
It's kind of my comfort too. Like I love traditional fantasy settings so much, which I think is ultimately like what drew me away from Era 2 compared to Era 1, is I just love like certain settings. And I'm the same way with games where like when I played Pillars of Eternity, wonderful classic fantasy D&D style RPG. The second one, very good too, but it's focused on the sea and you're taking a boat everywhere and there's pirates. And I was just like, I don't love pirates. Like that's not my thing.
Mm. I'm with you, Derry. Everybody asks me, "You ever read any nonfiction?" I'm like, "Why?" I mean, unless it's like someone's memoirs. No, not really.
Yeah.
I read a bunch of books on I read a bunch of books off the JFK assassination because I was obsessed with that for most of my
Oh
life.
God.
But that's about it. But
Snow Crash. Fuck Snow Crash.
you didn't like it?
I
Because
hated
there's
that
a
book.
really beautiful hardcover edition that I was going to get. But
So I'm apparently the like one of the few people that doesn't like it, but it just nothing worked in that book for me. It felt too much like it was trying to yes, Firefly's amazing. It
correct
was
answer.
trying to do what did you say?
Correct answer.
Yes, correct.
Firefly's great.
It was trying to do why can't I think of the damn Ernest Cline
Oh, Ready Player One.
yes. It was trying to do a lot of that and I didn't like it. And then there's just a stupid character with a stupid name that literally raps for like 3 paragraphs and I just closed the book and I never opened it again because I was like, I hate this so much.
Wow. Wow, that's not a very good sales pitch. All right.
But
I
there are
forget who I
people
was.
that
I think I
were
was talking to Moyd, and Moyd was telling me
yeah.
that it was either he didn't like Snow Crash or he did like Snow Crash, and Nick hated Snow Crash, or I can't
No,
remember what
Nick
it
loves
was.
it.
Okay, so yeah, then
Yeah.
it was Moyd that was trashing it, and
Yeah.
you know Moyd, he's always gonna make it funny.
Mhm.
You read Tchaikovsky before?
Not
Children of
yet.
Time?
Not yet. I
Yeah,
have it.
I had like a viewer poll, and that's what won. So I'm gonna be reading Children of Time
Yeah.
this fall. But if that doesn't work for me, a lot of people have been telling me about his Shadows of the App series. Is supposed to be. I mean, people are reading on the Discord right now. And they just can't stop talking about it. So I was like, okay,
I've
more
read them both
fantasy, more
fantastic.
fantasy. So
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
that guy is a freaking output machine, man. He puts out books
Right?
faster than Sanderson, I think.
That's hard to do.
I know, right? I mean, Sanderson probably while we've been having this talk, he's probably wrote a novella at least.
Probably, at least. I mean, that was one of the biggest surprises of I know
Did
it
you
did.
like Ready Player One?
I did because I thought it was a lot of fun. But
Yeah.
the reason I'm comparing the two was because, well, one, the order that I read them in, but I felt like a lot of what Snow Crash did that I'm sure Ernest Cline just ripped off and put in Ready Player One.
Right.
I just liked how he did it more in that. And I also fully understand the problems with Ready Player One. And like Moyd hates that book and it's hilarious how
Right.
he shits on it.
I know.
I totally get it. And I'm not going to read the second one because
That's why I was asking, because I had a good time with Ready Player One, but I
so
admit,
did I.
yeah, I'm the target demographic.
It's
I'm Gen X,
trash,
of
but it's
course.
also fun.
Yeah, I had a good time with it, but I also am like, was it just nostalgia? Because then Scott
been.
really recommended that. God, was it Dennis? Dennis Hamilton or oh my god, I can't think. Dennis, the guy who wrote the. I'm drawing a complete blank. It's like this sci-fi book where a guy's body gets. They freeze his brain and they put him in like a spaceship like hundreds of years in the future.
Oh, the Bobaverse?
Bobaverse.
Yeah.
And I read that first book and I was like, dude, all this is this dude building spaceships and throwing out Star Trek quotes. I'm like, I'll just fucking read a Star Trek book if I want this. And I said, I think maybe that's why Ready Player One worked for me then, and I don't know if it would work for me now.
If Scott is still here, he's gonna be mad at you.
No, he knows. Scott's a gentleman. Scott will always be like, "Yep, that Mike likes to hurt me." He says that. He was like, "Mike likes to hurt me," and that's fine. That's fine. Scott is like Philip, and he loves just about everything. So I'm gonna upset him more, once in a while. But I don't know. I just
love the introduction to that book because like him just getting hit by a car was just like the funniest shit to me. Like it just happened so suddenly. I was like, what?
Great. Man, that would be a great blurb. The thing is I did that blurb for Ryan Cahill, and if the first one I sent him was like as a joke, I just put epic as fuck. And I was like, not really. He's like, do you want me to put that on there? He's like, that's the joy of being self-pub. I can do that. I was like, no, I'd like maybe say if some actual publisher sees that, they might actually want to ask me to blurb for them. I better not put epic as fuck on your cover.
You should have.
So it is epic as fuck though. The Fall
Michael said Ready Player 2 is the worst book of all time.
I've like heard that a lot. That basically it just undoes everything from the first book, and I was like, fuck. So I mean, I could tell right away that was just like, I tried to write something after Ready Player One, didn't do very good. So why don't I just go back to the well and do Ready Player 2?
What was that? Was it Artemis? That's Andy Weir.
That was the guy that did Project Hail Mary.
Yeah, that was Andy Weir. What was the other Klein book that he wrote? I remember it wasn't very good, but I can't remember what it was.
I can see the cover in my head right now. And, I don't know.
And yeah, Moy DNFing Ready Player 2 and talking about it was fantastic.
Oh, that was more fun than reading the book ever would have been, honestly. Yeah. I mean,
Armada. Thank you. I knew it started with an A.
Yeah, it's Armada. It sucked. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I heard Artemis did suck as well. Since you brought that up, did you read Project Hail Mary?
I have. I've bought it the day it came out. I haven't read it yet.
That's so good. That's a light read.
I love The Martian.
Blow through it. I mean, maybe it's because I read it when we were in Jamaica, in literal paradise. Maybe that helped. But no, that was such a great book. Yeah, so good.
Oh God, Pixels, another masterpiece.
I mean, I had this theory about Adam Sandler that he had a friend that was really funny. And he stole all of his friends' ideas and eventually he ran out.
Off of him.
Eventually he ran out of material because that friend got pissed off. And he ran out of that material. And now he's just like, I mean, when's the last time that guy had anything funny?
I mean, I still quote Happy Gilmore, Waterboy, and Billy Madison.
Yeah, it's been like 20 years. And that guy's still cashing checks, though. He's still cashing checks. But good for him.
It's basically a money laundering scheme at this point. He just puts all of his buddies in a movie and pays them a bunch of money.
I think so. Well, I gotta say, I hope you do. Things do calm down for you in real life, and you can come back to doing this again because we need more voices talking about how great Red Rising is, for one thing. And I don't know. I always say do what makes you happy. So if you're comfortable putting out 1-3 videos a year, man, hey, do that. That's great.
I mean, I'm going to at some point. I mean, right now I'm just doing some buddy read videos and read along stuff here and there, which is always fun because like doing stuff like this is always going to happen. It's always fun. I got to the point where it stopped being my focus. And even before I stopped, like months and months ago, probably like 6-7 months ago, a lot of my reviews in particular slowed down because I wasn't feeling that like blown away by a lot of the books. Like they were good, but I didn't genuinely feel like I wanted to talk that much about them. So I didn't put out a review because I was like, why am I just going to put out a 10-minute review of a book I didn't really care that much about? So it didn't feel genuine. So
maybe you should just start making shorts.
Yeah, I could.
Shorts are great.
Not a bad idea.
I don't have to set up anything. I have to edit anything. Boom. Just record this on my phone. I'm done. It's great. I mean, they don't do anything. Like I have some people being like, oh, you're only doing shorts for the money. And I was like,
oh yeah.
I took a screenshot of something. I was like, I had this one where I talked about the Six of Crows series by Lee Bardugo. So it's already going to be something. 20,000 views. I've gotten 86 cents off of them. Like, $86 million. I can almost buy a fucking Frosty, you guys, a junior Frosty. It's gonna be great.
Couple more dozen reels, man.
So
make it.
Yeah, it's great. It's like I get lots of engagement on that on Instagram, but not much in shorts. I think my audience is more. I do the 20+ minute reviews and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's more the stuff they're into, or collabs. I love doing the collabs because it's nice to have some. I came up as a podcaster, with a co-host, so
Makes sense.
it's more fun to have a voice talking back once in a while.
Absolutely.
Just those ones in your head. But as always, tell everybody where they can find you, my good man.
At my house that you can see behind me. Maybe on YouTube every once in a while. On various channels. I hosted a live chat last month for Golden Sun. Was that on my channel? I already forgot. That's how bad I am at this. I'm doing a read along for Rising with Angela and Leanna. So we're bouncing between each other's channels until Lightbringer comes out. So you'll see me there and on some other chats, I'm sure. And eventually I'll make some more videos, but my last review was 2 months ago. So it might be a minute, but
you doing anything on Twitter anymore? You just got it.
I honestly just I don't really pay that much attention. Like I don't put anything on Twitter anymore. Like I stopped updating on I'll probably like a bunch of. I mostly use it for NFL, honestly. NFL and golf.
Twitter mostly for sports, and that confuses people who follow me for book stuff, and it confuses my sports friends when I talk about book stuff. So I know I'm a tough follow on Twitter for sure.
Yeah. Same with Instagram. Though, I don't upload that much on Instagram anymore. I chill on Discord and I bullshit with everybody that has luckily been around for years on my Discord. I mean, the audience has basically been the same for years, which is dope because it's like having a couple dozen friends that are always there to talk to. So that's always fun. Yeah, my YouTube channel will eventually have content again. I'm not quitting. It's just not a focus right now because I'm too fucking busy with work and kids. By the end of the day, I'm like, I don't want to read and film a video and edit. I just want to play a game and
that's been happening to me a lot more recently than it used to, for sure. That's why I try to do all my stuff on the weekends so that won't happen to me. And then sometimes on the weekends, I'm just like, I just want to fucking play video games with my kids, and why not? This is fun. But with me, like I said, I've always have more ideas than I have time. So I get that. I don't even have kids as young as yours, so I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I mean, we're busy. I mean, between work and swim and soccer and
man, Little League. Just wait for Little League. That's the shit right there. They want practice every damn night. And I'm like, are they going out for the gold this year? What's the deal? Why are we doing Little League practice 4 nights a week? I bet.
Ours is only once a week in a game on Saturday, but I'm coaching soccer, take my son to swim once a week and just, gymnastics for my daughter as well. So
here's a motivation booster for you. Thanks, DK. Love you.
Appreciate it.
Love you. Yeah, it's really great.
I am in my 30s, so I'm basically dead.
Yeah, I'm older. Hey, you're only as old as you feel, and I feel 137. But thank you, as always, everyone, for hanging out with us. We do appreciate it. Alex, thank you,
of course,
for joining me.
Thanks for having me, man.
I hope you'll at least pop on the Discord once in a while. I know my Discord's got too many people, and no one wants to hang out.
I can barely keep up with my own half the time. That has 30 active people on it.
I'm on 9 people's Discord, and I'm like, man, I don't read 98% of mine.
I had to just leave people's Discords. I felt like I was just taking up space, and I was getting notifications, and I'm just like, I don't even talk here. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah, it's great. Well, I appreciate you for hanging out, and hopefully one day the Texans can at least be on the Cowboys level of losing.
I don't think that will ever happen.
Year. So, I mean, I would take losing in the playoffs every year. I would take it. I take it.
I feel like that's a backhanded compliment. So thank you, and how dare you?
Here's the thing: Cowboys fans are so hard on Dak Prescott. We would fucking love to have a Dak Prescott.
I like Dak. I have a Dak jersey.
Listen, I want the Texans to draft CJ Stroud, and everybody out here is like, oh, he's just nothing but Dak Prescott. Like, I fucking love to have Dak Prescott. Are you kidding?
I'm sorry. Do you want a top 10 quarterback, or do you want Davis Mills?
You're not going to draft a quarterback. All right. Well, that's it.
They're going to take a defensive edge, and you're going to like it.
Oh yeah, it's going to be great. Can't wait to lose 6-3. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging.
Bye, guys.